What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you. Another horror movie review for you today. It will be spoiler free for the new horror comedy bloodbath that is called Abigail. I saw this movie a little less than a week ago, and I'm kind of dragging getting my review out here. That's the bad news. The good news is it's kind of been cultivating in my brain a little bit, and I think it's kind of growing there. This is a film that I'm excited to talk about. Let's get into Abigail. After a group of would-be criminals kidnap the 12-year-old ballerina daughter of a powerful figure, all they have to do to collect the $50 million ransom is watch the girl for one night. However, they start to dwindle one by one, and they discover that they're locked inside with no normal little girl. Look, this is a vampire movie. Anybody that's seen the trailer, anybody that's most likely tuning in to watch this review knows about Abigail. Either they've seen it, they've seen the trailer, they've heard about it, they're a horror fan, whatever the case may be. This is got a lot of the beats of your traditional vampire lore, but it also kind of stands on its own as this unique thing that kind of borrows from everything we've seen before, but it still feels different, and I mean that in a good way. This is a spoiler-free review, but spoilers, I liked Abigail. I don't think it's the greatest movie that's going to move mountains in the horror genre. This was directed by the duo referred to as Radio Silence, and they've done some great things, including the last two films in the Scream franchise, and a movie that I love with Samara Weaving called Ready or Not, among other things. In short, this is their wheelhouse. This movie, Abigail, is essentially Ready or Not, replacing the bride-to-be in that movie with a young ballerina vampire. Another example, I would say, this is basically the party at Stu Macher's house in the original Scream, but instead of Ghostface, you have Abigail with her vampire bloodlust. The first half of the film does drag for me a little bit. It takes a little bit of time in its setup. I don't think that's the film's fault. I think that might have a lot to do with the marketing and the trailers for the film, which were which blew me away when I saw them. But we know Abigail's a vampire. We know blood is going to be splattering all over the place. We see all that stuff in the lead up to the movie. We saw it in every trailer that came out. But the movie spends a lot of time until we get to that reveal. And once we do get to the reveal and she kind of exposes herself and comes out as this young vampire, that's when I fell in love with this movie. It was brutal. It was visceral. It did not care about the loss of blood, which was largely practical in this film. The kills were great. There were some awesome kills in this movie. I'm not going to give any of those away, and I'm not going to give away any of the plot twists that we get in the movie. Just want to touch on the performances real quick. And Melissa Barrera, who famously was let go by Spyglass for the upcoming Scream 7 movie, shines here. She is an absolute standout in not only this movie, but in this genre. There's a solid 20 minutes or so in the last act of this film that Melissa Barrera takes on that final girl facade and is soaked, drenched in blood, and it was my favorite period of time in this movie. She absolutely owned this film. With that being said, the cast is phenomenal. Dan Stevens plays this kind of quirky but somewhat sleazeball character who's kind of leading the group, and he is having a hell of a year. I love Dan Stevens. Catherine Newton, who I also think has carved a niche for herself in the horror genre, period. But this year alone, this movie along with Lisa Frankenstein, of course, she kind of started her turn in the horror genre with Freaky a few years ago, which is one of my favorites, that also has a similar tone to this movie. The lead of Abigail, played by Alicia Weir, is phenomenal. I mean, you get a 12 or 13-year-old girl to act and on this level, but not only act, the sinister nature of her character when that reveal comes, and then prior to the reveal, the kind of childlike innocence that she portrays. Again, it only let me down a little bit because I knew what this movie was, and I don't know why it had to take 45 minutes to an hour to get there. I didn't dislike a lot of that character stuff in the beginning with our would-be criminals and the group that we're following, but it wasn't necessarily the movie I came to see. With that being said, this is a horror comedy. It has very funny moments. It has extremely gory moments. Like I said, I loved all the performances here, led by Melissa Barrera without a doubt. The ending was a bit melodramatic and seemed a little bit too much of a bow tied on top. But this is a pure popcorn flick. If you want to go to the movies and you like horror and you want to grab a bucket of popcorn and just have a good time, be scared occasionally, laugh occasionally, this movie is for you. Radio Silence has another gem on their hands to add to their resume. This is very similar to those other films that they've done in the past, just with different characters and a different narrative. It is a good time at the movies, and I give it a thumbs up and recommend it. Out of 100, I'm going to give Abigail a 72. Go check it out while it's in theaters. That's it, guys. What did you think of Abigail? Did you see it this weekend? Are you planning on seeing it? Let me know down below. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time in the garage.